There's a moment every car owner knows. You're standing in a parking lot, sun hitting your hood at just the right angle, and you see it. That dull, chalky, lifeless finish staring back at you. The paint that used to shine like glass now looks like it gave up somewhere between 2 winters and a summer of regret. And you start doing the math in your head. Repaint? That's $1,000 minimum. Detailing shop? Still $300, maybe more. And for what? To watch it fade again in 6 months? But what if the real problem isn't your paint at all? What if the finish you thought was gone forever is still sitting right there under the surface, just waiting to come back? Because here's the thing. The auto industry doesn't exactly advertise. There's a simple, almost embarrassingly cheap liquid that professional detailers, body shop insiders, and fleet maintenance crews have quietly been using for years to bring dead automotive paint back to life. Not temporarily, not just for photos, permanently, and it costs about $3. That's not an exaggeration. That's not clickbait math. We're talking about a product you can find in any hardware store or auto supply aisle that most people walk right past because nobody told them what it actually does to oxidized, faded, chalky paint. The people who know about it don't exactly want you to know. Because the moment you do, the expensive part of the detailing industry loses its grip on you. Before we go any further, it's important to be clear about what this is and what it isn't. Everything you're about to hear is shared for educational and informational purposes only. This is about understanding how automotive paint chemistry works, what causes degradation, and what professional grade solutions exist that are accessible to everyday people. Nothing here is advice to misuse any product or skip necessary safety precautions. Always read product labels, work in ventilated areas, and when in doubt, consult a professional. The goal here at Secret Sparks is to give you real knowledge, the kind that actually changes how you see the world around you, not to replace professional judgment. Now, back to that $3 liquid, and why the auto industry would rather you never find out about it. To understand why this works, you need to understand what's actually happening to your car's paint. Most people think faded paint means the color is gone, but that's almost never true. What's actually happening is that the clear coat, that invisible protective layer sitting on top of your actual color, is breaking down. UV rays, oxygen, heat cycles, road chemicals, they all attack the clear coat constantly. And when it breaks down, it oxidizes. The surface becomes microscopically rough, almost like frosted glass. Light hits it and scatters in every direction instead of reflecting cleanly. That's what dullness actually is, not missing color, scattered light. Which means if you can address that surface oxidation, if you can smooth out those microscopic imperfections and restore the way light interacts with the surface, the color underneath looks brand new again. Because it is. It never went anywhere. It was just hidden behind a layer of degraded chemistry. And this is exactly the gap that the $3 liquid fills. Not through miracle chemistry, not through some industrial secret that defies physics, but through a very specific, very deliberate interaction with oxidized clear coat that resurfaces it, reseals it, and restores its ability to reflect light the way it did the day the car left the factory. The liquid in question is a compound that most people know by one name, but don't actually understand by function. It's an automotive clay lubricant combined with a nano-grade ceramic bonding agent, and when you apply it correctly to a properly prepared surface, something remarkable happens. The molecules in the compound bond to the oxidized layer, essentially filling in and smoothing the microscopic valleys that cause light scatter. What you're left with isn't just a temporary sheen, it's a restructured surface, a chemically bonded protective layer that behaves like new clear coat. Professional detailers call this process paint correction at the molecular level, and they charge anywhere from $200 to $800 for it. The $3 version? It's the same fundamental chemistry in a simpler delivery system, and the results, when applied correctly, are almost indistinguishable from the professional service. Here's where it gets even more interesting. This isn't just about looks. Oxidized paint is exposed paint. When the clear coat breaks down, the actual color layer underneath becomes vulnerable to the elements. Water, salt, and UV rays, they start working on the pigment directly. That's how you go from dull to peeling, from cosmetic issue to structural damage. Restoring that surface layer isn't just a vanity move. It's actual vehicle protection. You're adding months, maybe years, to the life of your paint job with something that costs less than a cup of coffee. Now, the application process matters a lot, because this is where most people go wrong if they try to shortcut it. The liquid doesn't work magic on a dirty surface. The surface has to be clean, not just rinsed, but decontaminated, because the bonding chemistry only activates on bare paint. If there's a layer of road grime, tree sap, or old wax sitting on top, the compound is bonding to that layer instead of the paint, and within a week, when that contamination flakes off, your results go with it. The process starts with a thorough wash and a clay bar treatment, another automotive detail tool that most people have never heard of but can find for a few dollars anywhere auto products are sold. The clay bar physically strips embedded contamination from the surface of the paint without scratching it. What you're left with is bare, clean, slightly rough clear coat, exactly what the compound needs to grip onto. Then comes the application. And this is where patience pays off. You work in small sections using a microfiber applicator pad. Not a paper towel, not a cloth rag, a microfiber pad, applying the compound in slow, overlapping circular motions. The compound starts to haze slightly as it works. That haze is the chemistry doing its job. The oxidation is being lifted, the surface is being smoothed, and the bonding agents are activating. When you buff it off, clean and dry, the transformation is immediate. And that transformation on an aged car is genuinely one of those moments that makes you stop and just stare. What makes this permanent rather than temporary is the nanoceramic bonding layer left behind. Unlike a wax, which sits on top of the surface and wears away with rain and washing, the nanoceramic compound actually integrates with the clear coat at a chemical level. It becomes part of the surface, which is why fleet managers and body shop insiders started using it in the first place, because it survives weather, washing, and time in a way that traditional detailing products simply don't. One of the most consistent reactions from people who try this for the first time is disbelief. Not because the result is slightly better than expected, but because it looks like a different car. Neighbors ask if they got a new paint job. Coworkers think they bought a new vehicle. Because human brains are wired to associate paint condition with age. A car with gleaming factory-looking paint reads as new. A car with dull, chalky paint reads as old, neglected, ready for the junkyard. Fix the paint, and the entire perception of the vehicle shifts. And this works on more than just cars. The same chemistry, the same principle, the same application process works on any vehicle with an automotive-grade clear coat. Trucks, motorcycles, RVs, even older boats with gel coat finishes respond to this treatment in ways that make the owners do a double take. Because the underlying problem, UV-induced oxidation of a protective surface layer, is universal. The solution is universal too. There are limits, of course. Paint that has gone beyond oxidation, paint that has cracked, peeled, or suffered actual physical damage down to the primer, can't be restored this way. No compound on Earth fixes physical damage with a wipe down. But for the vast majority of dull, faded, chalky, lifeless-looking vehicles, the paint isn't damaged, it's just oxidized. And oxidized paint is, chemically speaking, recoverable. This is the part the auto industry never wants to become common knowledge. Because right now, millions of vehicle owners every year pay for paint jobs they didn't need, pay for full detailing packages that solve a problem a $3 product could have prevented. Or worse, sell their car for a fraction of its value because the paint looks bad, hand it off to someone who spends 30 minutes and $5 restoring it, and watches them flip it for twice the price. Knowledge changes the math, and that's exactly what this channel exists for. If this kind of content, the things hiding in plain sight, the systems that work quietly while nobody talks about them, the simple truths underneath expensive problems, if that's the kind of thing that lights something up in you, then you belong here. Hit that subscribe button. Like this video so more people find it. Because the information in this channel isn't being shared anywhere else quite like this, and every person who finds it changes the way they see the world around them. That's the whole point. That's why Secret Sparks exists. Before we close out, it's worth being transparent one more time. Everything shared in this video is intended purely for educational awareness. Results will vary depending on your specific paint condition, vehicle age, product selection, and application technique. No specific results are guaranteed, and no endorsement of any particular brand is implied. Some paint conditions may require professional assessment, and this video is never a substitute for qualified automotive advice when the situation calls for it. Use your best judgment, follow all product safety instructions, and approach every project with care and common sense. Because that's what real knowledge looks like. Not a guarantee, not a shortcut. Just the truth about how things work, handed to you straight, so you can make better decisions than the ones the industry was hoping you'd make. Your car's paint isn't dead. It never was. It was just waiting for someone to tell you what it actually needs.